The Athearn Genesis SD70AH and SD70M-2 model is one of the nicest locomotives produced by Athearn. It was initially announced in 2010, and first units were hitting the shelves in 2011. It is currently ran in their Genesis 2.0 line, key differences being LED headlights, ditch lights, ground lights, lit number boards, see-through steps, and rubber MU hoses. I have 14 examples currently of this locomotive. As you can tell, it's one of my favorites. I've sold and traded dozens of others throughout time. In the background is one of the original announcement posters from 2010, highlighting the locomotive, its key features, details, things that were new at the time, prototype information, and the production locomotives they were going to run. My biggest complaint about this locomotive, since I've had one, which I've had the CITX 140 outside the box here for probably about 12 years or more. Considering how large the locomotive is, it's very lightweight. I've got smaller locomotives that weigh significantly more. So I decided to make a home SD70AH conversion. This video is going to be scaling the differences between a stock previous model, a newer Genesis 2.0 model, and one of the units that I have weighted up. This CN8005 unit is from the second run of SD70M-2 units Athearn announced. I believe it is from 2011. It is completely stock. So here I have a scale, and we're going to use an old school blue box car body weight to balance the locomotive, make sure all of the weight is right in the center. We have it zeroed out. And a stock locomotive from a previous run shows 493 grams. Up next, we are going to weigh a Genesis 2.0 variation of this unit, and it shows 533 grams, so a bit of a difference there. And next, we're going to weigh the CITX 140. This unit has been weathered. I added a yellow sill stripe to it, and all of the weights on this locomotive, as you can tell, are not visible. The nose of the locomotive has self-adhesive tire weights. The cab, which you can take on and off, I believe on all runs, has pinewood derby weights, as well as the radiator housing, which is completely hollow, and most of the fuel tank, which has wasted space. So we're going to scale the difference on this one and see how heavy it is. So now we've dropped this on the scale, and we are seeing 761 grams. I will put all of the weights of these locomotives in the description, just so you can compare them. So we went from 500 something to 600 something to 700 something. So approximately 150 to 200 grams difference between one of the first run units and one of the units that I have boosted the weight on. I've also done that to some of these other ones. I believe these two PRLX units, one of those FURX units. Pretty much the purpose of this is so that the locomotive can pull more. I've got a 33 car train on the layout right now. I don't have a way to accurately scale that without taking up my entire day, but we're just going to see if each of these locomotives can pull the train. While the train itself is relatively heavy, the tight curves on my layout create lots of retarding force. So there's multiple trains that I'll need to have 2, if not 3 units on simply to pull it around the layout, and it is completely flat. So let's see if any of these will make it happen. Just for sheer reference here, I know this locomotive is a little bit larger, but the stock Genesis SD90 locomotive weighs 714 grams. So that compared to 500 something, there's definitely more that can be done with these. Hopefully Athearn takes some measures in the future to do that. Up first on the layout, we have the 2011 run of a CN SD70M-2. Again, this model is completely stock. I don't have an easy way to prop my phone up and record at the same time, but right now we're sitting at a quarter throttle. As you can see, the headlight and one of the ditch lights is operating. The wheels are slipping. We'll go ahead and increase the throttle and see if the train will move. We are over halfway. And it appears the locomotive is just going to sit there and spin. So, again, I'll put all the measurements in the description, but the 500 some odd gram locomotive will not move this train. Up next, we have the Genesis 2.0 P&W 4302. Applying track power. And we will slowly increase it. And we are about halfway. Results appear similar to the other stock Athearn model. Last but not least, we have the SD70AH conversion unit. And we are about quarter throttle right now. Oh, she's starting to move. Let's advance to half. And look at that. I'm sure something will derail before it makes a complete lap, but there you have it. So from one of the first runs to a Genesis 2.0 run to a home converted unit, you can make these locomotives pull their own weight. And just to show you as an example on both of these stock units, so if you take off the radiator housing, you'll notice that there is nothing but dead space here, which can be occupied by weights. And if you take the fuel tank off, there is a weight on the underneath side of the locomotive, but the inside of the fuel tank offers a large area where you can pack weights on the side. So the tops of all these cabs do pop off, and to show you on the previous run unit with a cab headlight, the interior is very nice, but also spacious. Here's the lit number board run, and I would certainly put more weight in here, but I ran out. That does not look like a lot, but I've got probably 200 of those in this locomotive, so it adds up very quickly. Now, I would pop off this radiator section, but I glued it down just to help hold everything in place. Same with the fuel tank as well, because that one... Oh, yeah, well, I'll have to put those back in. All the weight does bear a lot of weight on that screw, so it is also glued back up into the frame. All right, we've put those weights back in the cab. Can't believe I didn't think about that. But this video is just to show you what can be done if you are also dissatisfied with the lack of pulling ability on your Genesis Ace and M-2.